Can I get someone just to kind of keep an eye on the door? Maybe Sarah, maybe you want to just sort of like, oh, see it like that? Yeah. No, Genevieve, I need you in here. Genevieve, don't run away. Oh gosh. Yeah, someone else can do that. Your job is to be here. I can tell. Taking your sweet time. I'm giving you a hard time. She is. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome. It's good to see you all on this really rainy and windy day. Not necessarily a fun day to be outside, so why not be inside the synagogue? Hi, Asher. All right. I want to invite my wife up here to light some candles. Also, probably my daughter as well, seeing how they're kind of connected. So the whole shebang. Get Asher up here. All right. Lots of good scenes are going to be on the bima. All the good scenes. Oh, and we're on page 120 if you want to follow along.
Nope. Just made it.
Oh, wait. Yeah, that's cool. Baby, the matches.
It's a great.
Not the best.
You wanna? She's really going for those.
Oh, this is where you're really seeing me struggle though. Oh, what? First try.
Hey, bigger boogie, come in. Ready?
Oh, wait, sorry.
Oh, no.
All right, I gotta perform a Shabbat miracle. Come on.
Okay, there. You ready?
Got it.
Adonai, Elohim melech haolam, asher kishana b'mitzvotah, v'tzivanu v'havak ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you. We did it. We brought in Shabbat. All right, Genevieve, please come to the bima. We're gonna move to 128 for Hine Matov, and Genevieve is our cantorial soloist tonight, along with Viola, which is pretty cool. So, anyways, I'm gonna let you take it over. Remember, right,
The world's smallest cantorial.
Yeah.
That was 128.
128.
Hine matovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
We now turn to Lechadodi, which is on page 138. And Genevieve here is going to recite paragraphs 1, 2, 5, and 9. Okay, 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we arrive on paragraph 9, I invite you all to stand up and face the entrance as we greet the Shabbat bride.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shemor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem tiferet ve'itila. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'elcha, ki hi mekor habracha, merosh mekidem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machasha v'tehila. Lecha dodi dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, hivarehu miori, uri, uri, shir daberi, kavod Adonai v'chila. Lecha dodi dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Please rise.
Boi b'shalom ha'terat lava, gam b'simcha u'bzola, tokenu ne'am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
You may be seated. Now we move into Shalom Aleichem on page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi-Melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi-Melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi-Melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Now moving to the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba be'elma divrach yotev yamlik malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael ba'gala uv'izman kariv v'imaru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'alam ulam me'almayam yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yipramam v'yitnasem v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudusha barichu le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'elma v'imaru. Amen. I invite you to rise and join us for the Baruch Hu on page 146. You may be seated. We move now to the top of page 149, which I invite you all to read with me in the English. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way in which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, your guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, ma'ariv aravim. We're now going to continue in the English on top of page 151. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mysteries beckon, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We now turn to Shema on 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malechuto Leolam Vaed. Moving to 154. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meyodecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'elem asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinartam levarnecha b'divartam ba'am v'shivtecha b'beitecha Ubatecha hava derech, ushoftecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leyot al yadecha, v'hayu totafot beineinecha, uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, lema'an tiskeru v'titemet chol mitzvotai, V'tem kedoshim le'elohechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeti etchem meretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Echem emet, v'chamocha, on page 158.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefet.
And then Hashkivenu on 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom, ve'ha'amidenu malkeinu lechaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen.
The Bishamru.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובן, בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Got too into it.
Please join us for the Amidah on page 164. When you arrive there, I invite you to stand. Adonai sefatai tivta uviyahi sehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tivta uviyahi sehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor HaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Ha'avot, V'zocher Chasdei Avot Imahot, U'mevi Gula V'neilehem, L'masho v'yahava, Melech Ozer Mashiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ezra Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh kol haTorah Yoshia, B'rit haTanah, Mechaber Chaim b'chesed, Mechayeh hakol b'rachamim. Zomek noflim berofei cholim, u'matir asurim, u'mekayim lishanei avar, lichamocha l'gevurot, u'lidom elah, melech meviz u'machayeh, u'matir Yeshua. Ne'eman atah l'chayot v'tamol, Baruch atah Adonai, v'chayei hakol. We will now continue silently until page 180. You may be seated whenever you like.
Say shalom bimrolah. Uya say shalom aleichem. Ve'ako Yisrael. Vimru, amen. O say shalom bimrolah. Uya say shalom aleinu. Ve'ako Yisrael. Vimru, amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'ako Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'ako Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'ako Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'ako Yisrael.
Sermon time. Here we go. In this week's Torah portion, we continue through a litany of laws that Israelites are to follow once they enter into the land of Canaan. Moses, who will not be able to join them, spends the last moments before his death describing the system of government and the rules the Israelites are to set up in his absence. That is, of course, the perspective of the story from within the text. But the book of Kings, King Josiah happens to find the book of Deuteronomy in the temple, almost as if it was written by Moses, then lost somehow, and then rediscovered. Most scholars find this story a little bit too convenient and believe that King Josiah actually ordered the writing of the book of Deuteronomy himself. And King Josiah is famous for reforming temple worship and re-centralizing temple practices back to Jerusalem. And thus we have at least two lenses to look at this book. The lens of Moses, monologuing, rules to the Israelites, and the lens of King Josiah, reforming temple practices. Each perspective offers a different understanding of how these laws are to be enforced. For the Israelites during the time of Moses, they first need to wage a campaign against the Canaanite inhabitants, split up the land to various tribes, and settle the land, and then finally set up the law code that Moses has provided. For King Josiah, it seems that the book of Deuteronomy is asserting new rules or a new system of government as a replacement for the current one. The Israelites have long since settled the land and have settled into a government, culture, and lifestyle that is not to King Josiah's liking. So the book of Deuteronomy is Josiah's instrument to change the laws and the systems of governance to meet his needs. The most salient change in re-centralizing the temple worship practices to help better fund the war with the Assyrians. However, as we are about to see, there are some incredible laws to help make the lives of the Israelites people better. It is in Deuteronomy 24, where we see a series of laws designed to protect the vulnerable people in Israelite society. One of my favorites is Deuteronomy's labor law, and it states, "You shall not abuse a needy or destitute labor, whether a fellow Israelite or a stranger, and you must pay out the wages due on the same day before the sun sets, for the worker is needy and urgently depends on it." This feels even more important as we celebrated Labor Day this last Monday. And I find this law incredible for two reasons. The first is that it makes no difference whether this person is an Israelite or an immigrant. They must be treated the same. A person deserves the dignity of getting what they are owed, because all people should be treated fairly. And as a huge fan of Dr. Seuss, this reminds me of one of his books, Horton Hears a Who, in which Horton is quoted as saying, A person is a person, no matter how small. A non-Adonai worshiper is not treated any differently than an Israelite and cannot be exploited for being a foreigner. The second impressive component of this law is that it speaks from the perspective of the laborer. A person living from paycheck to paycheck requires prompt payment to meet their needs. Deuteronomy addresses their needs from their perspective. It reminds employers that a day's wages is the difference between food on the table and starvation. The Torah says that employers aren't just obligated to pay wages, but also obligated to pay wages on time. And this is justice, and justice driven by compassion. In a nearby passage, we see why compassion is so important when thinking about a just society. And the passage goes like this: "You shall not subvert the rights of the stranger, the orphan. You shall not take a widow's garment and pawn. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt and that your God redeemed you from there." In the previous passage, the employer is reminded to not let their privilege prevent them from understanding the needs of a paycheck-to-paycheck laborer. In this passage, the text reminds the Israelites that they once suffered from slavery. How then could anyone who suffered in this way continue this kind of suffering, especially to the most vulnerable members of Israelite society? Hypocrisy is not a foundation for a just society, especially when justice is driven by compassion. And as the inheritors of the Torah, when Adonai redeemed the Israelites at Egypt, Adonai redeemed us as well. This is what our holiday Passover is all about. We reenact this redemption each year. And these handful of verses help explain what redemption means. We don't just bask in the warm glow of redemption. Redemption is a responsibility to live our lives as a just society, a society that both Moses and King Josiah defined in the book of Deuteronomy, where we don't let our privilege get in the way of protecting the most vulnerable of our members, where our rules are driven by compassion. Thank you. We're now going to continue onto the Misha Berach, our prayer for healing on page 371. Before we sing it, here are the members of our community who are in need of healing: Tina Mink, Chris Converse, Jennifer Eskridge, Ian Clift, David Tobias, Kitty Flagel, Lindsay Raber, Micah Purdy, Cheryl Lambriani, Laura Allen, Susan Super, Melba Cook, Emmy Webb, Stephen Lamp, Russell Crass, Bill Ross, Alan Friedman, Russ Nog, Ross Rumack, Norma Haas, Ray Ellis, Carol Riven, Philip Kaufman, Jane Anderson, Louis Mayer, Lillian Mayer, Ariel Lamp, Emily Weaver, Ginger Spiro, John Johnson, Jackie Erduschek. If there's someone who you are thinking of, please feel free to say their names out loud or in your hearts.
Mishabera Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimahutenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheperach imotenu mekor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We now move to page 587 for the Misha Berach. When you arrive, for the Elenium. When you arrive there, please stand up. Lena Lishabe Aklado Nako La Tehi La Lea Sere Breshi Some Delphine Lea Ped and Shimo Pagorali Bahamli Mamuko Vanam Nukori We HaKadosh Baruch Hu. 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Love to each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech. May we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity, and cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas. And light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo We now turn to the Mourner's Kalash on page 598 of our prayer books. And in our own community, we're thinking about these yard sites this week. Nellie Bloomfield, Mariana Clift, Thelma Ginsburg, Eugene Mannheimer, Judith Marks, Sam Techer, and John Willis. If there's someone who you are thinking of, please feel free to say their names out loud or in your hearts. Zikrunom Livracha, may the memory be for a blessing. Yitkadal Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divrach Reotei V'yamlik Malchutei, B'chayechan U'yamechan U'bcheirechol Be'Yisrael, Ba'agala U'vizman Kari V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mebarak Le'olam Olamei Almayam, Yitbarak V'yishtabak V'yitpa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh, Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Semeda Kudusha, Barichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechamata, Damiram be'elma v'imru, Amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, V'chayim aleni v'yakol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, Hu ya'asei shalom, aleni v'yakol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated. Okay, announcements. We will have Oneg after services, and then Leah here will be offering her workshop on blowing the shofar after Oneg tonight. So if you want to blow a shofar, we'll have them out tonight to blow. So thank you, Leah. If you want to blow shofar during the high holidays, you got to talk to Leah about it, and she will sign you off if she feels like you're ready. And then let's think, what else we got going on? We got morning minions at every Wednesday morning now at 8:30. We moved it from 8, so it's now at 8:30. And then we have high holidays coming up, and high holidays are going to start on September 25th at 7 p.m. will be Erev Rosh Hashanah. So it'll be here in person and it will be online as well. But we're going to have it in person for the first time in 2 years. So that's pretty exciting. We're thrilled about that. We also we're bringing in cantor Nancy Ginsburg, who is an ordained cantor from the lower 48. She'll be flying up here, help us with the high holidays. I think it's the first time we've ever done something like this before. So we're super excited about that. So please join us then. And so just so you know, the whole calendar is right on our website, but it's our September 25th. And then on the 26th, the next day, we'll have a 9:30 a.m. children's service, followed by a 10:30 a.m. Rosh Hashanah day 1 service. So the rest of the schedule is on the website. Other announcements? Am I forgetting anything? What? Oh, we have that figured out, actually. Yeah, cool. But if you want to volunteer for Break the Fast, we could always use help with that. That's end of Yom Kippur, so people help and kind of organize the food that comes in. If you want to help with that, we have a person running it, and I'll get you connected with them. Anything else? Am I forgetting? Yes, religious school. It will start. We're figuring it out. We have a new religious school director. Also happens to be Genevieve. And so that'll start October 9th. Will be the first day. Have we sent an email yet to the parents? Have we sent an email yet? Okay, parents are getting an email shortly. But yes, we've set up a date. It's coming October 9th. We'll start our Shabbat time machine on that day. Okay. I don't have anything. I don't have anything else. Anything else? No, I think we're good. I think I got him. Huh? Yes, Genevieve here is already working. If you want to volunteer for religious school, please talk to Genevieve. She will help you out. Okay. I think that's everything. Closing melody, you got closing melody figured out? Okay. All right. Yes, this is very traditional what we're doing right now. Very traditional. Yes. Well, I'm all about the OZ. Yeah, thank you, Leah. OZ. And then we what page is on now. All right, we're looking for OZ. If you find OZ in the prayer book, you already find it? 647. Oh man, you're winning all the rabbi points. All right, 647. The bottom of that page, the very, very bottom. OZ. Vazimrat Yam Vayahili Lishua Ozi 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 Vazimrat Yam Vayahili Lishua. Shabbat shalom, y'all. I'll see you for Oneg.